Hello, I'm Jeremiah, and in today's video I'm going to talk about film editing 101 and how to get started properly, especially when you've shot tons of footage. Okay, let's get started. Most of us beginning the editing process have the same challenge. You've shot a ton of video and you're not 100% sure how to get started with it. Now, this is especially true when you're editing a feature film, even if you have a script to go off of. Now, I spent 8 years working in the editing department for and with various Oscar-winning filmmakers. Wow! Starting as an assistant editor and then working my way up to editor. So I completely understand this challenge. And the techniques I'm going to cover today can be used for any length of movie. So in this video, I'm going to map out step by step the process for starting to edit your film the right way. And if you stay with me through the end of the video, I'll share with you what I think is the #1 thing you have to keep in mind when deciding what shots to use in your movie. All right, let's jump in. Let's start with something really easy. And that is, before you begin editing, make sure to back up your footage on at least 2 separate hard drives. Shooting digital is great, but it means that if the hard drive you're editing with fails, then you've lost your entire movie.
No, God! No, God, please, no! No! No!
Keep at least 1 backup copy of your footage on a good hard drive. I like anything by Seagate or G Drive, but my #1 favorite hard drive is LaCie. I've been using them for years and they've worked great for me so far. Knock on wood. The next step is to take the time to organize and label every shot in your movie. Now, this will take time, but it will set you up for success down the road. In fact, this is one of the main things that separate professional editors from amateurs. Now, I use Adobe Premiere to edit, so that's what I'll show you in this video, but almost every editing software works the same way, so the concepts apply. Start by creating a bin for each scene in your movie. And then put all the shots for that scene, even the ones you think are no good, into that bin. Then take the time to label each shot with the scene number, take number, and a short shot description. Now, this is important. Be sure to use the same exact scene numbers and take numbers you used in your shot list. That way the notes you took on set can carry over into the edit. Once your shots are labeled and organized, create what's called a string out for every scene. Basically, you're putting every shot and every take for each scene in order on the timeline, starting with the wider shots and then going to medium shots and then close-ups. Do not leave anything out, even if it's a bad take. I can't tell you how many times part of a take that I didn't think was a good take I've ended up using and it has saved my edit. It could be a cutaway or a reaction shot, or I've even used footage after the director called cut because the actor did something that was interesting and it ended up working in the final edit. You just never know, so don't limit any of your future options. Once you've created a string out for each scene, then sit down with the director or editor, depending on who you are, and watch through every frame of your footage. Take notes and discuss which are the best takes. These become your select takes or your selects. And do your best to not look outside the frame, meaning that you don't want to consider what happened on set. This is especially difficult if you're the film's director. Just because it was hard to get a shot or because you had a crush on one of the actors doesn't mean that it's a good shot and should be in your movie. When I'm in the editing room, sometimes I wish I had that tool that's in the film Men in Black. It's the neuralizer where they erase your memories. That's how you have to view your footage as a director, as if you have no memory of how it was created. Almost like it's found footage that you discovered and you're going to try to make a movie out of. And before I forget and go on to the next editing step, I'd ask that you please just take a moment to subscribe to this channel, and in the comments, please write, "I subscribed." Your next step in the editing process is inspired by this wonderful quote from Michelangelo. He said, "I saw the angel in the marble and carved until I set it free." Your job as an editor is to find the angel in your footage. So as you start to create your rough assembly, which is the step before your rough cut, many editors just go right to their selects and start building their cut from there. Now this can work if you have a limited amount of time to edit, but it won't always yield the best possible film. So if you have the time, I suggest that you take Michelangelo's approach and find that angel in your footage. And you do this by cutting out all the footage of your film that isn't working. What you are doing is you are carving your film rather than building it. And what this does is that allows you as the editor to spend more time with your footage, which leads to more opportunities of discovery. In working as an editor for many years, I found that if you take this approach, the footage can start to talk to you and actually guide you in the film that it wants to be.
The voices. I'm kidding, jeez. That's not what they really said.
I don't mean this in a spooky horror movie kind of way, but rather in an intuitive and knowing way. And by taking this approach of carving your movie rather than building it, you maximize your potential to make the best possible film. Now, at the beginning of this video, I teased you with the #1 thing you need to keep in mind while editing your footage. Well, the answer to that is performance. The actor's performance is the most important thing you have to consider when deciding what shots to use. In fact, it's much more important than any other thing, including the technical stuff. Now, in working with students over the years, I've noticed that they can get caught up in the technical aspects of a shot. How is the dolly move? Was it smooth enough? What does the lighting look like? Now, while those are important, they're not more important than your actor's performance. Your future audience is much more concerned about the actor and what they're doing than a perfectly executed dolly shot. So after following all of these steps, you will have a very strong rough assembly of your entire movie that will have some multiple takes and maybe some alternate shots, and be about 1.5 to 2 times the length of what you think your finished film will be. And remember, it's important to keep things rough at this stage. And in my next video on editing, I'll share with you the steps you need to take in order to go from rough assembly to a good rough cut. I hope this information was useful. If you liked this video, let me know in the comments below. And if you haven't already, please subscribe to my channel and write in the comments I subscribed. And for those of you interested in film fundraising, I suggest you download my free ebook, The Feature Film Fundraising Starter Kit. It's a book I wrote to help filmmakers just like you raise the money they need to make their first feature film. There's a link to it down below. Cheers, and I'll see you next week.